Are you like a lot of people and you're just to the point where Valentine's sucks for whatever reason, but you see the pretty paper and the pretty stamps and you want to buy them? Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you an alternative to using those pretty Valentine papers and stamps for other things. Hi, I'm Katie Taylor at scrappinkaty.com, where I show you how to preserve your family's memories through the art of scrapbooking. I am starting this layout out with a bunch of layers, and usually when I'm dealing with layers, I like to go ahead and gut my cardstock, especially on a special like this where it doesn't come with a coordinating pack of cardstock. That way I can conserve that cardstock. So I'm just lining up the edge of my paper and then cutting a hole in it. I'm going to do the same with this pattern. I'm not really a big fan of the pattern that you see here, but that pattern on the back I really love. So I am lining the edges up on 3 edges to 1 1/4 inches, and then I get to save that lovely floral pattern. So I'm going to bring out my Versamat and a 12 by 12 sheet of white daisy cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and get that tacked down so it doesn't move very much. And then it's easier when you have frames to go ahead and add your adhesive directly to your layout base. And then I just find that those little flimsy arms left by the frame are a whole lot better to adhere down if I don't have adhesive on them. Now this little bar gets done, and then I'm going to add some shimmer trim. This is red shimmer trim. And you can see that I'm leaving the backing on this and peeling away the backing as I adhere it down. And that's going to allow me to easily start my next piece off. And then I am going to attach this zip strip. Now, hindsight 2020, you don't see the shimmer trim and you don't see the zip strip. So I probably should have saved at least the zip strip, but it's already adhered down. That's one good thing about that ATG gun, is that adhesive is strong. So this gets mounted on top, and this is just white daisy on a piece of scarlet cardstock that we gutted. Now is the time to trim off that extra shimmer trim and then remove the adhesive. I probably could have left it on a little bit longer, but I went ahead and removed it. And then I pulled out an old stencil. You can see the hearts here. It is a full 12 by 12. Now, I don't know if I want to use toffee ink or shortbread ink. Shortbread's got a yellow tint to it, but it's lighter. So I'm actually going to try both inks out in a spot on the layout that I know is going to be hidden by my photo. So I've tried the shortbread first, and here comes the toffee. I'm going to peel this back to see which one I prefer, and I think I'm going to go with the shortbread. Now I will bring in other colors of toffee in some of my title and then some more of the die cuts, but for right now I am going to just add some of this stenciling. Now I wanted at first just hints of it, and then I decided, yeah, let me go ahead and add the majority of that frame around the edge. I kind of know where I'm going with this layout, but not for certain. So I might as well do it while I have the stencil out. Now this cute little note, it's meant to fit in this envelope, and this is part of the love notes. So my first inclination was to use these little notes for my top 5 things. Now I did start looking at these. I went ahead and corner rounded this peach cardstock, again thinking that I'm going this route, but then I end up totally changing it up, and I pulled out the January stamp of the month. You can go ahead and take a look at that here. Now, one thing about the January stamp of the month is I absolutely love it. If you aren't a big stamp person, or you're like, yeah, I already have that stamp, consider purchasing it for the thin cuts alone and this notebook paper. Super cute. And especially if you are one of my VIPs, with a qualifying order, you actually get this entire stamp set and the coordinating dies for only $9.95. You can't beat that. That's even cheaper than I'm getting it. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the rest of these notebook papers with black ink. Again, you can kind of see over to the left that stamp of the month, everything highlighted in that glacier color comes with a coordinating die. So I'm done stamping that, but then I do want these to have my numbers, and the January stamp of the month comes with numbers 1 through 5. So I'm starting at the bottom, thinking that that very top line is going to be where I put the categories of this list. So I'm just stamping all the 5s and then coming back with the 4s, the 3s, and the 2s and the 1s. And then that will be finished off basically on my stamping, especially on these little notebook pieces. Even though I changed up my mind on the little love notes, I did want to still use these peach pieces of cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the edges with some peach ink, just using a mini blending tool. I think it's going to make those pop a little bit off that white daisy cardstock because that peach color, I'm using the light side and it's so soft. Same thing with those white pieces of the little notebook paper, but these I'm going to actually distress with toffee ink. Hindsight, I probably would have done everything with toffee ink. It's in the collection, but then it also just kind of adds that kind of grunge look. Now remember, even though I'm using love notes, which is predominantly meant for Valentines, this layout is not Valentines at all. So I've pulled out some extra die cuts from that January stamp of the month. You can see here, again, just a wonderful shape. And I've gone ahead and ink distressed those just in case I decide to use them. Now, the whole premise of me adding these little peach pieces behind this notebook paper is because I found an old card kit from close to my heart that I want to use. So by adding these peach over to the left, I can use this card kit, and I'm really loving these red squares. Now, this is an older color. It was cranberry, if you've been around close to my heart for a while. Even though it's not scarlet or candy apple that are in the Love Notes collection, I think because the Love Notes has the two reds, a deep red and a brighter red, I think the cranberry actually plays really nice with those. Now, I only had 3 left over from this card kit, so you saw me cut one in half, and I did cut that at an angle so it would match the other 2. And then I'm also making sure that when I put these down, I'm adding them in opposite corners. Because that cranberry is such a dark color against this white background and the notebook paper and the peach cardstock, your eye needs to be drawn in a certain direction. And then, of course, I'm lining everything up with my T-ruler using my Versamat's edge as a little resting spot for that ruler. So I'm going to go ahead and get this last piece added down and then make sure everything's straight and get that adhered down. And you'll see here in the still shots what I mean by letting your eye kind of wander everywhere. Now, I love the sticker sheet. There are only a few stickers that I'm going to use. So I've pulled out the 2 that I'm pretty sure, and I'm adding them to my anti-static pouch to take the stickiness off so I can use some 3D foam tape. And you see me there kind of debating on the rest of the stickers. So when I really am at a stopping point, I like to work on things that I know I'm going to do. So I'm using the Let's Party Scrapbooking thin cut for that 5, and that's going to kind of be my title. And then outside of that, I have no idea where I'm going with this. So what better thing to do than add some white gel pen around those cranberry stickers. Now, these stickers, if you remember this card collection, or you might be able to tell in the still shots at the end of the video, they've already kind of got some white distressing to them. So just by adding a couple of lines with my white gel pen and then some hearts and some dots, I'm just kind of extenuating those already distressed lines that are there. So I took that scalloped circle, those are from the January stamp of the month. I cut that 5 out, and then I'm trying to decide if I wanted glitter paper or the toffee. I went with the toffee, so I'm just going to adhere those together with some liquid adhesive. That's going to allow me to really line up those scallops. And then this is the light side of Scarlet. The dark side really clashed with the cranberry, but the light side really looked good. Now this is an old stamp set, and I'm going to use some Scarlet ink and then the stamp set to add the titles to my little list. So I'm going to have 4 categories. The top one is going to be things. And then I'm going to have food, drinks, and TV shows. I am not one of those people. In fact, I'm pretty sure, 99.7% sure, that this is the only layout that I've ever done of this type. Meaning, what are my favorite things? What am I currently doing? I purchase all the cute stamps and paper that allow you to do that, and I love the concept of it. It's just I've never really sat down to do it. And you may be like me. It is so easy for me to scrapbook my kids and my family and my friends and my husband and even me in those photos. But when it comes to actually scrapbooking me, it's just one of the hardest things. But I loved this Love Notes collection, and I'm showing my VIPs. A lot of them don't have significant others, don't have, lovey-dovey stuff in their life. So I wanted to show them other things they could use it for, because it's really a good collection. Aside from that one pattern paper that's over on the left and it's a frame, I really like all of them. And I didn't even use my favorite pattern. Go look at the patterns, and you guys that know me, try to guess what my favorite pattern is. But anyways, I am finishing off these titles. Again, things, food, drinks, and TV shows. I am pretty sure I can come up with at least 5 things in those categories. I'm going to go ahead and get that 5 adhered down. I'm using 3D foam tape. My first piece, I'm going to adhere directly to the layout, and then I'm going to cut a different piece and kind of tuck it in under. Sometimes that's easier when you're overlapping things. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the XOXO, and it needs something. So I'm wanting some more of that red shimmer trim. Remember that I used it over on the right, but only a little bitty piece peeks out from behind. So I'm liking that shimmer trim. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some more white gel pen to the scalloped circle from the January stamp of the month. Not only did that circle just need something, I think that it tied that scallop circle in really well with the cranberry stickers. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of dots and then add some lines around that 5 as well. And then I am looking in between the list, and it just kind of seems bare. So I've pulled out the wood grain titles. Now this is chipboard, and there is a title that says the best. And so I'm not really wanting it as part of my big title. I'm really not wanting it directly tied to one of the categories, but I do want it on there. I think it's going to play really nicely with the rest of the title. So I've put it in the middle, and then I decide, no, let me try to put it up at the top. And then I even transfer it over to that top left. On the left is where my photo is going to go. So I'm thinking maybe it'll be there, and maybe it will be part of the big title. So once again, when I'm at a point where I'm not ready to make a decision, I gravitate toward what I do know. And I do know that my photo is going to be a 3x4 matted on that gutted piece that was left over from that scarlet cardstock. So I'm just going to trim down my photo. I want that white border to show from that photo placeholder. So I'm actually trimming my photo slightly smaller than 3x4. And then I'll get that adhered down onto there and try to dry fit it where I want it over here on the left. I think I'm going to tuck it in under that 5 and kind of do a little tilt, if you will. I'm going to move this title back to the center, look at it once again, and then I kind of want to tell you what helps me when I'm trying to look at titles and placements of things. So what I do is I put my titles, or whatever, if it's an embellishment cluster, I put it somewhere on my layout, and then I take photos of it at the various places. So you'll see here I'm actually including the photos that I've taken. So I have the best in the center. You guys saw that. That was one of my first things. And then the best at the top of my photo, which I really like that. But then I decided to change the title to My Top 5. So instead of doing the My Top separated, because I liked the best stacked on top of my photo, that is where I'm going to adhere that down right there. So I urge you to try that in your own scrapbooking. If you're at a loss of where to put something, just take photos of it and then look at them all, and then it's really easy to decide that way. So I do need some more stenciled hearts kind of in between these little category lists. So I've just taped off the pieces of cardstock that I don't want to get inked up. And then I'm just taking more of that shortbread ink and just inking a few of those hearts up just to kind of fill in that space, since I'm not going to have a title there. Then I am going to go ahead and take that same stamp set that I used for the category titles, and I'm stamping the year 2023. Because even though this is 2024, I'm actually going to do my list as they were written in 2023, and then hopefully maybe compare them at the end of 2024 and see what's changed. Now, this Love Notes comes with these puffy stickers. I absolutely love them, so I'm sprinkling them here and there around those clusters as well as my titles. And then I decided to put the scarlet hearts right there at the end of all those titles. I think it's a really nice like little punctuation mark. And then I took a red Le Pen and added some little doodle dots here and there around the titles and the category list. And you can see here just all those little final details and touches of the stenciling, the white doodle marks, the little red Le Pen, the puffy stickers. Again, it's not a Valentine layout, but it does have to do with the top 5 things that I was loving in 2023. I think it's going to be fun to look back at that over the years, and it's definitely going to be fun for my children and my husband to remember at some point. Here are some close-ups of that layout and all the final little details. Remember, you can expand the description and find all the shopping links for Love Notes, as well as a link to sign up for the VIP program. You have about 7 days left to get that extra $10 worth of VIP cash. And what VIP cash is that you get to spend it on any Close to My Heart product outside of specials, but you also earn 15%. So if you sign up to be a VIP and you purchase the Love Notes collection, you'll earn 15% on that order. As always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week.